I think, in my assessment, there are two scenarios. In all probability, I see BJP losing something like 50 seats over what it had last time. So, something around 250, possibly below it. There is also a scenario in which the undercurrent may be so strong that BJP goes much below that. That is less likely. The most likely scenario is BJP around 250 or below.
In which case, how many seats do you expect the NDA as a whole to get?
Something around 35 to 45. They were about 50 last time. So I would say something around 40.
And what about Congress? Will Congress reach three figures, triple figures?
It could, we cannot be very sure. Congress is likely to do much better than it did last time. They were 52. So I would imagine something like 90 to 100 at least. But in that other scenario of a strong undercurrent against BJP, it could go up to 120.
Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. With voting complete in nearly 90% of the seats and the final day of polling on Saturday, we ask, what is the big picture beginning to look like? Joining me to help answer that question is someone whose election forecast has been avidly followed both on television and social media since the start of the campaign. I'm talking about the National Convener of the Bharat Jodo Abhiyan, Yogendra Yadav. In an earlier avatar, not so long ago, Mr. Yadav was considered one of our foremost psephologists. Yogendra Yadav, voting is nearly over in 90% of the seats, and the last 10% will happen on Saturday, whilst the campaign officially ends tomorrow evening. So let me, before I come to details, start by asking you, as of today, what is your forecast for the number of seats the BJP is likely to win?
Thanks, Karan, for this privilege. I must begin with a statutory warning. I used to be a psephologist. Now I'm a political worker. The Bharat Jodo Abhiyan that you kindly mentioned is a political campaign which aims at restoring constitutional values, and in this election, which has taken a position against the BJP. I want it to be put on table. Now to your question. I think, in my assessment, there are two scenarios. In all probability, I see BJP losing something like 50 seats over what it had last time. So something around 250, possibly below it. There is also a scenario in which the undercurrent may be so strong that BJP goes much below that. That is less likely. The most likely scenario is BJP around 250 or below.
In which case, how many seats do you expect the NDA as a whole to get?
Something around 35 to 45. They were about 50 last time. So I would say something around 40. But do remember that two significant components of NDA, namely TDP, which may get something around 13 to 14 seats, is not quite their ally. They're formally there, but not quite there. So when you are thinking of government formation, you might wish to exclude TDP from there. You're not entirely sure if the Tamil Nadu allies are with them. So that's just a minor caution.
But when you say that the NDA as a whole will get between 35 and 45, are you including or are you excluding the TDP?
I'm including TDP. Of course, for formal calculation, you have to include it. But as I said, for political calculation, you might wish to take those 15 seats down. So finally, the core NDA allies maybe 15 to 20 only.
And what about Congress? Will Congress reach three figures, triple figures?
It could, we cannot be very sure. Congress is likely to do much better than it did last time. They were 52. So I would imagine something like 90 to 100 at least. But in that other scenario of a strong undercurrent against BJP, it could go up to 120.
Now, before we go into details, let me, on the basis of what you said, ask you, what gives you the confidence to make these forecasts? And at the same time, let me also ask you, Why have you come back to election forecasting after a gap of, I think, almost 12 years?
Thanks for asking, Karan. In 2012, when I was a social scientist at CSTS and had done almost 20 years of election forecasting, I said goodbye. I said, thank you very much. Don't want to be in this anymore because this was not my principal interest. And since then, I've been a political worker. Doing psephology, getting election forecast right is not my thing in life anymore at all. I've been forced to do this, not for the first time in the last 10 or 12 years. I've been forced to do it twice or thrice. First, when Aam Aadmi Party started, and the media said they would get only 2 to 5 seats in the first election. I had to come out and I said, no, I think it's 33. Finally, they got 28. I did it for the second time in 2015 Aam Aadmi Party election when the media said, Bhagode hain, khatam ho gaye hain. And I said, no, I think they're getting 57 seats. They got 67. I've had to do it this time again, Karan, because I thought surveys and pollsters have become part of the campaign, unfortunately. And if you recall, what was being presented to us? BJP was saying 400 par. Media channels were simply echoing 400 par. And opinion polls were saying 370, BJP with 330, 340, plus allies, close to 400. And when I started traveling, and when I got my political inputs, I thought this was simply untrue. And because that truth was not being told to the country, and because psephology and opinion poll forecasting is not merely a matter of reporting, it was becoming an instrument in election campaign. Therefore, I thought it's my duty to come out and say what I see, clearly, boldly.
And also, what you're saying to me today is based upon your extensive travels. It's based upon people you've spoken to. It's based, in other words, upon what you've seen and heard for yourself.
Let me spell that out. So what I did, honestly, to tell you the truth, I was quite depressed in the month of January and February. And I thought, well, the polls are saying so. I do take polls seriously. So polls were saying so. There was general mahal. And I sensed something was amiss. So some of us decided to travel. I would not bore you with the details of the travel, but we've traveled about 2,000, 2,500 kilometers. Team of us, not just me personally, a team. We went from specifically in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab. And then I had minor travels in Telangana, in Chhattisgarh, and in Karnataka. Through these travels, speaking to very ordinary people, I got a sense that no, what is being reported, that's not simply true because BJP is not going up. So that, of course, is one basis for what I'm saying. Second is, of course, reading reporters, speaking to people who in the past have given a better sense of what the elections are like, friends in other places that I have no access to, places like Kerala and Tamil Nadu, where I would speak to them and get a sense. And third, Karan, when you do something for 30 years, you develop what the doctors say, clinical sense. You sniff around and you feel, okay, this is what it seems like. This is what it was like. So a mix of all this, but I do want to place on the table, I do not have any poll in my hand or in my pocket. So I'm handicapped by the fact that I do not have a proper scientific random sample survey.
Against that background and explanation, Yogendra Yadav, let's look at the breakup of the BJP's performance. And I'm specifically focusing on the BJP because I think the greatest interest is to try and understand how the BJP is performing. If we
Absolutely. It's all about BJP's number. The political message of this election is about BJP's numbers. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And let's begin by focusing on the South. In 2019, the BJP got 29 out of 130 seats. What do you expect overall from the 5 South Indian states this time round?
I expect no gains and no losses for BJP. And I say so because I split it into two. If you look at places like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, include Pondicherry in that, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. In all these, I would expect BJP to increase its vote share. There are credible reports, and these ought to be taken seriously. BJP has invested enormous energy and resources there. And in all probabilities, BJP's vote share in all these states are going up substantially, not minor, but substantially. However, the advantage in terms of seats would be negligible. In Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Pondicherry, BJP would be lucky if it can pick 2 seats in all these states, despite the fact that they've had advantage, because in Tamil Nadu, it has become a three-way contest now. So while BJP is gaining on its own in terms of vote, it is making it a triangular contest, which works to the advantage of the ruling DMK. So in all these 3 states, BJP should be happy with 2 seats. In Andhra Pradesh, because its ally, the TDP, seems to be doing very well, BJP can pick 2 seats thanks to the ally. BJP on its own doesn't have much of a base in Andhra Pradesh. In Telangana, because BRS has kind of disappeared, has had a meltdown, and it has become a direct Congress versus BJP contest, in which there's big communalization, and BJP has managed to get substantial backward caste votes to its sides. BJP may improve. Let's say if there are already 4 seats, they may go up by another 4 seats. But Karan, put all these together, there are about 10 seats advantage to BJP. Now turn to Karnataka. In Karnataka alone, BJP is likely to lose at least 12 to 13 seats. BJP is sitting on 25 plus 1, 26 seats. If you put JDS, then it's 27 seats. I do not see BJP getting more than 13 to 14 seats. That, about 13 would be really the upper limit. So BJP on its own loses all that it had gained in South India. The rest of South India would be lost in Karnataka. So you could make it nil. As a matter of fact, I think Karnataka would look after not merely the BJP's gain, wipe out not merely the gains in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana and Andhra, it can also wipe out BJP's expected gains in Odisha.
But the interesting thing is, you expect the BJP for the first time to win perhaps 1 seat each in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. It will open its account, something it hasn't done so far in those 2 states.
I didn't want to be that specific. So I said Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Pondicherry put together 2 seats. Hard to say where these 2 seats. My method and my knowledge doesn't allow me to get that specific. But 2 seats overall in these. Pondicherry, BJP can get back that 1 seat. In Tamil Nadu, there are a couple of seats BJP has, is in the fray. And Kerala, there are 2 seats. So all in all, any 2 out of these 5.
The other thing that appears quite clear from your answer is that in the 4 states of Andhra, Telangana, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and let's add Pondicherry and make it 5, the BJP could gain overall, you said 10, but it could lose perhaps as many as 12 in Karnataka, which suggests that overall tally from 2019 of 29 out of 130 seats could actually come down by 2 seats to 27.
That's right. Yeah.
So, in fact, as far as South India is concerned, and I'm still talking only about South India, the best for the BJP would be to get the same 29 seats again, but it's possible they could actually lose 1 or 2 of that 29 and come down to 28 or 27.
Absolutely, because the real challenge for them would be to hold on to the spectacular performance in Karnataka in 2019. And there's absolutely no indicator that they would do so. In the first phase in Karnataka, BJP did do reasonably okay. That is where they had JDS as an ally. That is when Prajwal Revanna scandal had not come out in public. But in phase 2, northern Karnataka, every report suggests that BJP has done terribly there. And BJP would be scrounging for seats in the second phase. So all in all, it's bad news from Karnataka, which is big enough to wipe out other gains.
Let's then come, Yogendra Yadav, to North India. And again, I'll try and go through North India as far as I can, state by state, or at least groups of state by groups of states. In North India in 2019, in Uttar Pradesh, the BJP won 62 out of 80 seats. It's a state in which you've traveled very extensively this time round. How many seats do you think they can win in UP in 2024?
Karan, I expect them to lose. BJP had 62 seats on their own, plus 2 allies. So let's say 64 for the NDA there. BJP's claims at the beginning of this campaign were that they would actually improve upon that because they have a headroom. They were thinking of adding another 10. And the claim was whatever we might lose in the remaining North Indian states, we'll make it up with UP. I don't see that as a possibility at all. I don't see BJP retaining what they have. I see for them a loss of at least 10 seats in Uttar Pradesh. But let me spell that out because this is huge. We're not just discussing one state. We are discussing almost 1/5 of India. Now, in Uttar Pradesh, what works for BJP? What works for them is Yogi and Modi are not extremely unpopular. Number two, ration is still something people talk about. And ordinary people give credit to Modi. Almost no one knows that NFSA scheme was launched by Congress government. Everyone believes it's Mr. Modi's gift to humanity. And third, in terms of law and order, everyone credits Mr. Yogi for things which you and I may consider to be violation of principles of rule of law, bulldozer Raj, and so on. But the impression that law and order was poor during Samajwadi Party's time and has improved during UP is an impression that's generally shared. What is working against the BJP then? Two or three things. One, their MPs, their MLAs, and their local leaders are hated. There's very strong sentiment against them. Number two, there is now a resentment which people are unwilling to set aside simply by when you mention Modi or Yogi, which is to say inflation, unemployment, the stray cattle menace, and other livelihood issues. Livelihood issues are coming up, and that's the story in many other states as well. And third, there is for the first time specific anxiety, not just in Uttar Pradesh, but in other places as well, about Dalits, small section of Dalits, ex-BSP supporters, are willing to switch over even to Samajwadi Party, which was unthinkable earlier, because of a concern about constitution. I didn't believe that this would be the case, but I actually witnessed it with my own eyes. Concern among Muslims, of course, that they would be reduced to second-rate citizenship, and concern amongst a section of citizen about Tanashahi. People actually mention that word. These are things that work against the BJP. And finally, it would lead to a swing away. Remember, BJP's advantage in 2019 in UP was not as big as in other states. Their seats were 62, but BJP was sitting on a 13 percentage point advantage over its nearest rivals. My sense is that it would be cut to half. BJP would still lead, and mind you, saying that BJP would get something like 52 seats out of 80 is still giving BJP a huge advantage because it still is a winner. And if you recall, Karan, in 1991, 1989, elections when BJP would win UP, it would get about 51 to 53 seats. So that's exactly what I expect BJP to come down to.
But you're expecting that the BJP, as you said, could lose at least 10 seats out of 62 in UP, which is a substantial loss. I'm not a mathematician, but it's pretty close to 15% of the seats it could lose.
As a matter of fact, if the undercurrent that I mentioned is a shade stronger than I'm suggesting, and it could only be a matter of 2 percentage points, it could slip down to something like 42. So it's that terrain where lots of seats may be decided by very small margin. BJP is sitting at the edge where it has already lost. It's coming in that zone where tiny loss of votes can inflict serious damages in terms of seats. UP is the state to watch, no doubt.
Let's come to the other big state of the Hindi heartland, Bihar. Now, here in 2019, the BJP itself won 17 seats, and the NDA allies that it had at the time gave them 39 out of 40 altogether. How will each of them do this time round?
It was a complete sweep last time, Karan, and BJP and NDA had an advantage of 23 percentage points over the Mahagathbandhan as it was then. With Nitish is coming back, the advantage shifted again to NDA. But on the ground, What does not work? What works for them, of course, is the fact that Nitish is back. What works for them is that it's a serious caste coalition. But what does not work for or what is working for Mahagathbandhan is, number one, there is a that Tejasvi Yadav has managed to wrest the credit for jobs. Now, that's one of the rare things any Indian leader can claim. I gave you jobs. During the short-lived ministry in which JDS was with RJD, they managed to give lots of jobs, and everyone in Bihar credits the RJD, Tejasvi Yadav in particular, not Nitish. Number two, Nitish Kumar's personal reputation has gone down substantially. In fact, he's become butt of jokes, actually. That's the other thing not working for them. And finally, as everywhere else, livelihood issues, and in Bihar, there are so many, they are beginning to come up. Anti-incumbency against sitting MPs is a factor. So I imagine once again, in this case, that BJP's NDA's lead, I mean, 39 is impossible to replicate in any case. I expect a loss of at least 15 seats. Many friends would say, no, they would split the seats evenly. At the moment, I would still, in my assessment, give the advantage to NDA, loss of about 15 seats, of which principally the loss would be to BJP's allies and not so much to BJP. BJP might lose about 5 seats, and its allies, JDS in particular, which has been given 16 seats, which is quite out of proportion to its actual strength on the ground today. I expect about 10 seats of losses to JDS and to the LJP, the other ally in this alliance.
So if I hear you correctly, you believe the BJP could lose 5 seats, which means it would come down from 17 in 2019 to roughly 12 in 2024. You thought that the NDA could lose up to 15 seats, which means they as a whole will come down from 39 in 2019 to around 24, 25 in 2024.
That's right. And that's a substantial loss for them. And, it could go further, but let's say at the time, for the timing, because I like to be careful and conservative in assessment, I would put it at that.
And I'll point out to the audience that you are being conservative in your assessment. So if they understand that word correctly, the losses could be a shade greater than what we are discussing. Am I right?
That's right, because we are speaking of undercurrent. And because I'm handicapped by the fact that I don't have an opinion poll, post-poll, exit poll, which would have caught the undercurrent more precisely. If the undercurrent, for the reasons that I've mentioned, is stronger than I imagine, then even 1 or 2 percentage point loss could ensure that both the alliances finish around 20 each.
Let's come, Yogendra Yadav, to 4 major Hindi heartland states: Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand. Taken together in 2019, the BJP won 74 out of 79 seats in these 4 states. Now, after regaining the state assembly in 3 states and arresting and jailing the chief minister in the 4th, can they repeat that tally again?
It's hard to repeat in any case because, as you mentioned, it's almost a clean sweep. Repeating that clean sweep can happen only in extraordinary condition. The extraordinary condition in 2014 was exuberance, hope. In 2019, it was a sense of national security and so on, both of which conditions don't exist. So I don't expect BJP to be able to repeat that. However, the impact would be differential because in all these 4 states that you mentioned, BJP sits on huge margins, sometimes to the tune of 25 to 30 percentage point. To my mind, Rajasthan is an exception. In Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, the losses to the BJP would be minimal. I would say about maybe 4 to 5 seats in Madhya Pradesh. Last time, Congress had only 1, Chhindwara. I would expect them to pick about 4 to 5 seats in Madhya Pradesh. In Chhattisgarh, Congress had 2. They may not improve. Indications suggest that Congress may not improve upon that in Chhattisgarh. Jharkhand is a somewhat different story. To my mind, in the tribal belts of Jharkhand, which went to polls in the first one, and some of that go to polls in the last phase, there could be some losses. So BJP could lose something like about another 4 seats in Jharkhand. Rajasthan, as I said, is a different story. let's split Rajasthan into two bits. The first phase, the north and eastern phase, which borders Haryana and UP. In that phase, BJP faced a very stiff competition. That was the very first round, and I suspect one of the reasons why the Prime Minister got so rattled. The first phase went seriously against the BJP. Although, yes, they sit on huge margins. But my own reading is that BJP has met its match in the first phase of Rajasthan. So all in all, and also because Congress managed to strike decent alliances with CPM, with Rashtriya RLP, and a kind of alliance with Bharat Adivasi Party. Because of all that, I would expect Congress to be able to get about 8 seats, including the two allies that they have. Congress and its two allies should get about 8 seats there. So all in all these states, I'm looking at something between 15 to 20 seats of losses for the BJP.
15 to 20 seat losses in the 4 states of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, and Madhya Pradesh. In other words, that tally of 74 could come as low as 54, but maybe 59.
That's right. We've not discussed Gujarat, but if you want to put Gujarat with it, because it's a small state, BJP, and BJP is sitting so pretty in Gujarat that you don't expect things to move very much. I would still think that at least in 2 or 3 seats, in 3 seats specifically, the opposition has put up a decent fight. And because the BJP's vote shares might go down in Gujarat as well, I would put another 2 to 3 seats and put it in a kitty, in a sense. So 15 to 20 would now include Gujarat as well.
But the interesting thing is you're envisaging that the BJP will not get a third consecutive clean sweep in Gujarat. They did it in 2014, they did it in 2019, but they're not going to get 25 out of 25 in 2024. They could lose 2 seats, possibly 3 in Gujarat.
That's the information, Karan. There's a seat called Banaskantha. There is another seat called Anand. And the third one is Bharuch, where Aam Aadmi Party is contesting in alliance with Congress. These are places where the opposition appears to have done well. And yes, I do expect that in this election, it won't be 26 seats once again for the BJP. Votes are going down. So it's very hard to predict individual seats. But yes, the swing has reached a point where BJP can begin to shed seats.
What about Delhi, which was the other, if I can call it, state where the BJP had a clean sweep in 2014, a clean sweep in 2019, and they're hoping to be able to make it a hat-trick. What do you think will be the outcome in the 7 seats of Delhi?
BJP appears to have an advantage, but not clean sweep. If you put Aam Aadmi Party and Congress together, BJP still leads by about 16 percentage points in Delhi. Delhi city is more affected by television news, by a certain kind of mahal that the BJP can create. Interestingly, Delhi city has about 20% voters who vote for Aam Aadmi Party in assembly election, but switch over to the BJP in the parliamentary election. The question was, will the Aam Aadmi Party this time be able to persuade at least half of those 20% voters to stay with it during the parliamentary election as well? The reports are mixed. The Aam Aadmi Party may have succeeded in seats like West Delhi, and I'm really, really hoping that Congress would succeed in Northeast. I would still give advantage to the BJP. So more like 4 seats to the BJP, maybe only 2 or 3 to the allies.
Very quickly, has the whole controversy and story surrounding Arvind Kejriwal worked to the Aam Aadmi Party's benefit, or has it worked against their interests? Very quickly.
Putting Arvind Kejriwal in jail didn't work for the BJP at all because it did invite sympathy. However, after coming from jail, the party got involved in that controversy, which actually put the party in a fairly, in a poor light, honestly. So the kind of advantage Aam Aadmi Party could have had after Arvind Kejriwal's coming back from jail, I don't think it managed to realize it fully.
Okay, I'll come in a moment's time to Maharashtra and Bengal, two states which for most people are difficult to predict, which is why I'm leaving them towards the end. But let me first ask you about three small states in North India: Haryana, Himachal, and the Jammu part of Jammu and Kashmir. I'm deliberately leaving Kashmir out because the BJP is not contesting any seats in the valley.
Haryana has seen something very interesting. There is almost a wave against the BJP. The only thing that prevents a rout for the BJP is the fact that BJP starts with a 30-point advantage. They were 30 percentage points ahead of the opposition last time. So while I see a strong wave, which would kind of equalize it, BJP may still be able to get back a few seats. My sense has been that Congress would be able to get anywhere around 5 to 6 seats in Haryana. So whether it's 5 or 6, we don't quite know, but that's my sense for Haryana. Congress is making a comeback because farmers' movement has created a very strong sentiment against them. Well, the chief minister's resignation puts BJP in a situation where they can't defend their previous rule. And there is generally a sense of unease in Haryana, anticipating the assembly elections in the next 6 months. So 5-5 or 6-4 to Congress's advantage in Haryana. In Punjab, BJP stakes are very low. BJP has only 2 seats, Gurdaspur and Hoshiarpur, seats dominated by Hindu voters in Punjab. However, seats where BJP needed Akali Dal's support to get the rural Sikh votes. Because Akali Dal is not contesting with BJP this time, it's a 4-way contest in Punjab. BJP could actually lose at least one of those 2 seats in Punjab. BJP is trying desperately to compensate it by contesting the urban seats like Ludhiana, and they tried Patiala. I don't think they are anywhere in Patiala, but the Ludhiana and other places. So all in all, possibly a loss of 1 seat in Punjab. In Himachal, I would imagine, although BJP is very strong, and Himachal is once again a state when it comes to Lok Sabha election, it favors the BJP, but there's a Congress government. And I would expect Congress to pick at least 1 seat. It is in contest in 2. They could pick up 1. And incidentally, Chandigarh seems to be going the Congress way. Manish Tiwari is doing fairly well there. In J, K, and L, which has been separated, which we used to call J and K, do remember Ladakh, the seat that BJP held and is unlikely to hold this time. That's the 1 seat gone clearly for BJP. And in Jammu, of the 2 seats, BJP is ahead in Jammu, but there are questions in Udham. So it could lose 1 seat, at least 1 seat in JK and L as well.
Let's then come to those 2 states which are very difficult for people to predict as things stand, Maharashtra and Bengal. In 2019, the BJP itself won 23 seats in Maharashtra and the NDA as it existed, 42 out of 48. In Bengal, the BJP won 18 out of 42. What do you expect this time?
Bengal is very hard to predict. Maharashtra, my sense is we clearly know the direction in which things are going. It's only about the extent that there are confusions. There are, predicting specific parties may be a difficulty, but it is absolutely clear that BJP is nowhere close to what it got last time. The NDA had, as you say, 42. They are losing big, they are losing substantially. I would put my neck on the line and say NDA would lose 20 seats in Maharashtra. So from 42 down to 26, 22. So the overall balance in Maharashtra, to my mind, would shift in the favor of what is called the Mahavikas Aghadi, the India alliance in Maharashtra. They would get 25 or 26 seats, depending on whether 1 seat goes to another party or not. So 25 or 26 for the Mahavikas Aghadi and 22 for the NT. Do remember here, once again, like in Bihar, substantial losses for allies, not so much for the BJP, because A, the allies are fairly unpopular. B, allies are contesting much fewer seats in Maharashtra than the BJP. BJP last time had contested fewer seats. This time the BJP is contesting 30 plus. So with all the 20 losses, my sense is only 5 seats lost would go to the BJP, and about 15 seats lost would come to the allies, specifically the Shinde Shiv Sena, because one of the battles was who is the real Shiv Sena. To my mind, that battle has been the voters have answered that, and it is Uddhav Thackeray's Shiv Sena that they see as the real Shiv Sena. Shinde's Shiv Sena is nowhere there. In the NCP battle, it's a somewhat more closely fought battle. Sharad Pawar's NCP may have an upper hand. Ajit Pawar is not out. But all in all, about 5 seats of loss to the BJP and about 15 seats lost to the overall tally of the NDA allies.
What about Bengal? The BJP had 18 out of 42 in 2019, and that was quite a surprise at that time. What do you expect will be the outcome 5 years later in 2024?
I'm confused, honestly, Karan. I hear absolutely contrary signals and very hard to say which one of that is right. So out of, I think, sheer sense of defeat, I've simply said, all right, 18 status quo in my assessment. But that's partly out of confusion, as I said. On the one hand, it is clear BJP's 18 seats of BJP last time were, as you said, a spectacular, unbelievable kind of an achievement. After that, there were assembly elections. BJP went down. Not only did they lose the assembly election, the party was kind of fragmented after that. And someone like me assumed that BJP is down to 5 or 8 seats now in the next Lok Sabha election. BJP has picked up after that. There's no doubt about it. How much has it picked up is a question. Some people say BJP would improve upon 18 and go on to get something like 22 seats. My colleagues who travel in West Bengal are taking a bet with me, not more than 12 or 13 in any case. So as I said, out of sheer confusion and inability to get hard evidence, I would say no loss, no gain.
We're coming to the end of this interview, Yogendra Yadav, but very quickly, what's your sense of Assam and the rest of the Northeast? Can the BJP retain the grip most people believe it has in that part of the country?
My sense is yes. While there may be a couple of seats losses in Assam, BJP is not losing it big way in the Northeast, which makes me sad after what happened in Manipur. But unfortunately, right now, Assam is being managed in a way which is not merely through opinions and politics. There's a lot of money involved there. All kinds of games are being played. And the politics of the Northeast is somewhat detached from the rest of India. There are local contestations, and a lot of electoral management has gone into what the Assam Chief Minister Hemant Biswa Sarma. He's not just the Chief Minister of Assam; he's also their boss for the Northeast. So I do not expect much losses for the BJP from the Northeast. So I would really say status quo. In a sense, therefore, Bengal and Assam and the Northeast, the broad thing would be to say status quo.
Finally, Odisha. The campaign began with the belief that the BJD and the BJP could become allies once again. But since then, the BJP has accused Naveen Patnaik of being old and in poor health. They're accusing him of damaging Odisha's glory and Asmita. Can the BJP end up reducing the number of Vidhan Sabha seats Naveen Patnaik wins? Can they end up winning more Lok Sabha seats than Naveen Patnaik wins?
I've not been able to pay that much attention to the Vidhan Sabha contest in Odisha. My sense still remains that notwithstanding some losses, Mr. Naveen Patnaik would get a majority. The seats may go down, he would still get a majority. However, it's the parliamentary election which is turning out to be more interesting. And there's ticket splitting, which is to say, in the same election, you vote for one party at one level and another party at another level. And that seems to be catching up. And all reports suggest that BJP, which already holds 8 seats out of the 21 seats in the state, BJP could improve upon that. So I wouldn't be surprised if BJP picks up another 4 seats. It may lose Vidhan Sabha election, but it may get majority of seats in the Lok Sabha election.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me. We're coming right to the end of this interview, and I'm going to remind you of what you said when we began the interview. You said overall, you believe the BJP could lose something like 50 seats out of the 303 that they won in 2019, but you added that if the undercurrent is strong, maybe that number 50 could go a little higher to 55, even 60, which would then bring the BJP down from 303 to 250 in the first instance, and perhaps down to even 245 in the second instance. But then when we went through the tally state by state, and I'm now relying on my memory, it seems to me that the total number of seats the BJP could lose has edged a little past 50. We're talking about up to 10, maybe 15 seats if the undercurrent is strong in UP, 5 seats in Bihar, up to perhaps 20 in states like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand. The Ladakh seat is gone. 1 or 2 in Punjab could go. 5 in Haryana could go. They could lose 5 in Maharashtra. Status quo, admittedly, in Bengal, but they could lose also, say, 2 or 3 in Delhi. And maybe they'll gain a bit in Odisha, but we're talking of an overall loss, if you go state by state, that goes from 50 to closer to 60. So would I be correct in saying, and I'm just summing you up, that you anticipate that the BJP will come in between 240 and 250?
Karan, I did a video 2-3 days ago, which said 240 to 260, that overall range, because, we give range. And unfortunately, I do not have a precise poll with me, which would allow the kind of decision that you would want and anyone should expect. So broadly, what I've said, and I would reiterate my position, I do not see any possibility of BJP improving upon what it had last time or even retaining 303. More important, political point is I expect BJP to fall short of 272. Now, that's a major statement. I've made it again and again, and I'm reiterating in your show. How much it goes down to, my sense is my Excel sheet shows 50. But yes, as we speak, it can go down. And when I say go down, in the eventuality of a stronger undercurrent, then I don't mean just 5 or 10 seats. If the undercurrent is stronger, then it could go down substantially, something like, just a 2 or 3% swing across the North Indian states from where BJP, I think, already is, could take it 20 seats down, because tiny votes can make a huge difference.
Can I interrupt? So when you say could take it 20 seats down, are you saying 20 seats down from 250?
That's right. Yeah, sure, certainly. If the undercurrent is strong. But at the moment, let's stick to what I think is the more likely range, the one that I've come out and I've stated, where the mean point is 250, which is already quite a strong statement. So my sense is BJP is losing around 50 seats. And my claim is certainly not a majority for BJP.
Absolutely. As you said, the BJP, and you said this with great clarity and certainty, the BJP will fall short of 272. It could go down to 250. And if the undercurrent is strong, it could fall even further, perhaps as low as 230.
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
therefore,
Yes.
is the outcome you're predicting. And in that video you referred to, which came out on Friday, you said, and I'm quoting you, "Chunav palat chuka hai." I take it this is what you mean.
Absolutely, Karan. I mean, you and I have been watching elections, and I have seen you watching these elections for the last 30 years or so. I mean, have we seen an election like this where when the election opened, it looked like BJP was sailing through. They were moving everything, their narrative, their allies, allies were deserting India, moving towards BJP. Everything seemed to be working to their script. Something changes in as soon as elections come in, and now all those bombastic claims about 400 plus are gone. Those who were saying that BJP was alone was getting 320 are now talking, no, they'll get majority. So the question has shifted, and in that sense, I in a sense feel, Karan, that I've done my job. My job, in a sense, was not to do psephology. I don't earn my bread from that. That's not my profession or my passion anymore. My my attempt was to bring the country to the real scenario, and the real scenario is whether NDA on its own can get majority. I don't rule it out, but that's a question, and whether BJP is falling short of majority. These were real things. And this real picture, the real concerns and the scenario was being concealed from the country by the combination of polls, television, and BJP's propaganda machinery. So I'm glad we are discussing the real issues now. Or chunav palat chuka hai. That is what I mean. Palatna. Things have really shifted. That's my sense.
One thing I should add for the clarity of the audience is that we are still anticipating, rather you are, that the NDA will get between 35 and 45 seats. The core NDA, as you said, 15, 20, but you're adding TDP in to take it to 35, 45. If the BJP falls to 250, the NDA will be sufficient to take it up to 295 and form a government. If, however, the undercurrent is so strong, the BJP falls to 230, then the NDA may not be able to take it across 272. That range for the NDA was 35 to 45. At 230 for the BJP, the NDA will take it to 265, which is still 7 short of 272. At 45, they would be just 3 ahead. So depending upon the strength of the undercurrent, and we don't know, we're just depending on it, the BJP could face a very, very difficult time forming a government.
Yeah, so that's not what I would call the most likely scenario, but that's a scenario you cannot rule out at this stage. I would not rule that out. And as I keep saying, while we have to count NDA as it exists right now, which includes TDP, but really no one in Delhi or in Andhra Pradesh is willing to believe that Mr. Chandrababu Naidu can be assumed to be an ally of the BJP in the post-election scenario. So if BJP is down to 250, maybe a couple of seats further, then the game opens up. Yes, Mr. Shinde has no option except to stick to the BJP, and so perhaps Mr. Nitish Kumar. But Chandrababu Naidu's options are open. So the effective NDA as would exist on the night of the 4th may be much smaller than the NDA we are talking about. That could fall short of majority even in that scenario.
I just underline that point for the audience. It's a very important point that most people don't make. But depending upon how far below 272 the BJP itself falls, the effective NDA that exists could also be a question mark. Finally, Yogendra Yadav, in contrast to everything that you've said, Narendra Modi, in an interview he gave the Economic Times on the 23rd, just 6 days ago, claimed that after just 5 rounds of voting, the BJP has already won more than 272 seats. It was emblazoned on the front page of the Economic Times. Amit Shah, on the very same day, was quoted by the Hindu as saying that the BJP, after just 5 rounds, has already won not 272, but 310 seats. And my question is this just bravado and big talk? what the Italians call braggadocio? Or could the confidence that Modi and Shah are showing be a result of private exit polls which they've commissioned, which are giving them some sense phase by phase of what the outcome will be? Which of the two do you think it is?
I have no doubt that they have private exit polls. I have no doubt that their information base is infinitely superior to my information base. I'm not entirely sure why would they share their private exit polls with the public. I would much rather get a sense of what their private exit polls are saying from the mood of the prime minister, from his body language, from the kind of things he started saying just after the first round, from his desperation, from his rather low, even by his standard, remarks. That to me give a better sense of what those exit polls must have told him than the figures that he announces. And while he's absolutely entitled, as a political leader, he's entitled to making those claims. He's almost required to make those claims. You are in an election. It's your duty to keep the morale of your party workers up. The real problem is, why is the media splashing it? Why is the media not splashing the fact that Akhilesh Yadav says they will win 79 out of 80 seats? Okay, then सिर्फ बनारस छोड़ दिया है, 79. All right. So if Mr. Prime Minister's claims are to be splashed, they should splash that as well. And I heard the Congress spokesperson saying the other day that even before the sixth round, they have secured a majority, if I'm not mistaken. They've also made these claims. So it is all right for those claims to be made. The trouble is that media starts splashing these claims as if these are not claims of a political leader in the middle of a battleground, but these are assessments which need to be taken seriously. And this is not for the first time, Karan. You remember West Bengal assembly elections, where Amit Shah's claims of 200 plus were discussed as gospel truth. That's my problem. When the media starts taking these, if you want to discuss these things, all over the world, Karan, you know these things better than I do. We are about to witness elections in Britain. I'm sure Mr. Sunak will come out and say, my party is winning majority and so on. All right, he's entitled to that. Opinion polls show that he's 20 percentage point behind the Labour. But then you would have a sensible discussion on television where Mr. Sunak's supporter will come and present something credible, something detailed, some breakdown. That we don't get in this country. That's my problem.
Absolutely. I thank you, Yogendra Yadav, for the time you've given me, for the effort you've made to explain this result, not just in terms of big, broad figures for the BJP, for the NDA, for Congress, but also in terms of how you think the BJP will perform in individual states or individual groups of states. I'm particularly grateful for the fact that you have summed yourself up, and I'll quickly repeat it for the audience. You're pretty sure that the BJP will fall short of 272. It could go down to 250, depending upon the size and strength of the undercurrent. It could even go down to 230. And if it does go down to 230, then there are question marks about whether the NDA will actually be able to take it across the 272 mark or not. I leave the people with that big, broad outcome, because I think it sums up what you've said beautifully. Many thanks for the time you've given us. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Karan. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch The Interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.